Good morning, Patriots. JT Serenity Farms prepping here on a Monday morning. So, about 11 days ago, rail carriers declared something called force majeure. Okay, that halted shipments of grain to dairy herds and other cow herds across America. Okay, that is part of an engineered collapse of our food supply, as we know, involving the truckers, the fuel prices, and now rail carriers are essentially being ordered by the White House, the pedo Joe regime, to drop certain loads in order to get the maximum food scarcity and famine that they can. Now, CF Industries, that is one of the largest fertilizer producers in the world, has confirmed that the plan, the engineered collapse, is being expanded to include fertilizer shipments. I'm going to read a little bit. There was an announcement on April 14th from CF Industries. Union Pacific is halting the delivery of fertilizer shipments right in the middle of peak planting season for farmers. CF Industries warns railroad mandated shipping reductions will result in nitrogen fertilizer shipment delays during the spring application season, and that it will be unable to accept new rail sales involving Union Pacific for the foreseeable future. CF Industries also stated that it is only one of 30 companies to face these restrictions. So, Union Pacific is essentially dropping fertilizer shipments and grain. Also, DEF, diesel exhaust fluid, which is necessary for all tractors, all tractor trailers, all big rig trucks, any machinery that uses diesel engine. They won't even run. They'll run so low that it's bad for the machines. This, the White House is doing at the same exact time they just up the ethanol, which is corn. Now this is going to be twofold terrible. One, ethanol is terrible for car engine gaskets. It just ruins them. It just eats them up. And now that they've upped it, farmers will be selling their corn for ethanol production instead of food production. This all at the same time that the regime is trying to do away with gas. And this is one of the reasons, this is one of the ways how they're trying to do away with gas engines. By ruining them all with the ethanol crap. All right, so train is the most financially and physically efficient way to ship fertilizer and grain, because fertilizer is like a rock. It is solid. It is extremely heavy. Rail cars, because it's metal on metal, metal wheels on the train, iron rails. There's no friction. And trains don't go uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. If you've ever noticed trains, they go through the mountain. They don't go over it. They don't go under it. Yeah, there's slight inclines and grades up and down, but overall, trains take the path of least resistance, the shortest route, straight lines. Tractor trailers, your big box trucks, rubber on asphalt is not a good mixture. You know, when you spin tires and you leave that tread, or you hit your brakes and you leave the tread, there's one example. The hotter the pavement gets, the worse it is. The more friction that causes drag and uses more fuel. Those trucks going uphill, tractor trailers, lots of diesel being used. Downhill, all their brakes are being used and worn out. You know it, you've seen it. So it is not economically feasible for tractor trailers to attempt to haul all the fertilizer and the DEF. That would be tanker trucks. Okay, so if the rail lines no longer ship any of this, you can imagine what it's going to do right in the middle start here of planting season. There's going to be nothing. Right now, a farmer pays approximately $200 to $400 an acre to fertilize their fields. With this White House Biden order and no longer shipments are harder to get, this could go as high as $2,000 to $4,000 an acre, depends on what you're planting and the fertilizer, nitrogen stuff that it takes. Okay, so right now think of food costs and how they're necessarily skyrocketing, and that's at farmers $200, $300 an acre to fertilize it. Now, if it goes up to $2,000 an acre, that is 200, 2,000. Multiply that times your food cost. And this is all going to take place right around September when these foods would be harvested. Now it's time for the farmers to get paid. Well, guess what? When no one can afford food, the stores are going to see some waste. They're not going to order these foods because they can't afford to get them to the farmer because they got to jack them up so much for you to buy them to cover their costs. You see how it's a snowball effect. Right from the get-go, farmers' costs go up. Those who produce and manufacture goes up. Those who sell it goes up. Those who buy it pays all the extra costs that everybody else had to put out to produce that. We stop buying, stores stop carrying, producers and manufacturers stop getting work, farmers are going to stop producing. Do you see how this is all being engineered and how terrible this is going to be? And it's all by intent. This means, I keep harping on this, I know I sound like a broken record, but long-term food storage while you can get it. Oh, and to compound matters, we literally have green weenies trying to suck CO2 out of the air. I made a video on that a few months ago where they're actually taking CO2 out of the air and putting it in underground storage containers. CO2 is the most important nutrient for plants and green vegetation life. Satellites have shown the areas with the highest CO2 in the air are the greenest. And these people are trying to take it away, trying to make you think that every time you breathe, you are contributing to the fake hoax of global warming. The more CO2 they take, the less plants grow. And they are actively trying to do this. At the same time, they're actively spraying stuff into the atmosphere to try and stop the sun from warming the planets and providing us with vitamin D. Where does that come in so handily? All right, you see where this is all going. www.storagechef.com SFP15. Look up the rail lines. Google it. It's very easy to find and verify this. There are going to be no shipments of fertilizer. Please get prepared. Like, share, subscribe, comment, notification bell. But for now, JT, signing off.